would you go to a 5:30 Daf Yomi? And I said, yes. And the reason I said yes is because Rabbi Smith was teaching it. But just the opportunity to go to a 5:30 class, which works for me because of my schedule, and if the shul was going to have something like that, and Rabbi Smith was going to teach it, like I was going to say yes. But the problem was, as I left the building, I'm like, oh my God, what did I just agree to? I didn't even talk to my wife about this, about, like a 5:30 in the morning shiur, like every day, like no way, okay? No way. I don't even know how to learn Gemara. And I was like, okay, I'm hoping that Rabbi Smith is like most people, like big talker, gonna do a Daf Yomi shiur, okay, and I figure, just be quiet and it'll go by the wayside. And I didn't really know the character of Rabbi Smith. A few days later, he said, Yitzi, I think we'll start it, Rosh Chodesh. And I was like, uh-oh. And, but I figured, whatever, like nobody's going to show up besides me and him. And after a few days, like nobody will come and it'll be over and that'll be it. And I won't have to, wake up at 5:30 in the morning every day. But sure enough, Paris Pinchas was there and Sruli was there, right?
Right.
And Rosemarin. And it went off, and and what I found was when you sit in front of Rabbi Smith, that's what hooked me. Was I really didn't even understand the Gemara at that point in time, and I didn't know what a brisa was, and I didn't know, I didn't know anything, but I knew the benefit that this was something special, and I really wanted the rest of my friends, which is the entire community of North Miami Beach, if not all of Kol Yisrael, to be able to experience this kind of this experience where you sit in front of Rabbi Smith learning Gemara every day. And that's why I started with the campaign, trying to publicize it and this because of the benefit to it. And I asked Rabbi Smith, why don't you put it on video? And he's like, no. He's like, a lot more advanced people teach this stuff online already. They don't need me doing it. But thank God his father is in Israel and asked him that he wanted to watch him on the video, which is why every morning that it's videoed, because Rabbi Smith wants his father to watch it. He's not looking for the covet of having an online shiur. It's for his dad.
I thought it was for Rennie.
And Rennie.
Rennie at the beach.
But
It's fine.
Actually, a decent number of hits on something.
Yeah.
But none of it would be possible without everyone's participation, because what I learned is the more people show up. We learned in last week's parsha when they're talking about the blessing of the Jews chasing their enemies, and the math doesn't work out. When there's a small number, it's like a certain amount, and when there's a larger number, it's an extraordinarily large number of enemies you chase, but it doesn't. The ratios don't work out. You would think that they would be the same, and the reason they say that is because when a bunch of Jews come together, a larger amount, they can accomplish amazing things. So we took a shiur of 3 people, and on days, we'll get 10, we'll get 8, whatever it is. When you come into the room and you just feel it, and it's great. So yishkoyach to all of you warriors. You guys have all made this possible. I know it's hard. I'm not expecting everybody to come every day. It's hard to wake up, but when you do, you are very special, and you're very valuable. And I certainly appreciate it when I see anyone show up. So, wanted to basically have this party for everyone. Even if people aren't here, it's also for them. That's why the pictures are there, just as a thank you for coming together and being able to to learn amazingly. I mean, if you think about what we've accomplished over this period of time, we've learned a lot of Gemara in this room, and that just benefits everyone. The entire community, all Kol Yisrael. My wife, we were talking about, such dark times. Like, how do you fight that? And you fight it by doing things like this, like, Torah learning, especially at night, and breaking yourself and pushing yourself and breaking your, limitations. And, even if you don't want to get up, you get up, do the right thing, and it just benefits everyone. So, l'chaim.
I also want to say a few words.
Second year.
I also want to say a few words and thank Rabbi Smith with the permission of the all brothers here present, and thank you for his kindness and incomparable kindness, and he's able to share his knowledge with us, and I was just thinking about yesterday was or the day before was the yahrzeit of Rabbi Shmuel Navi, and then came to my mind when the Samat Tzedek, we all know, was naming his seventh son. People were waiting, and you know the story, right? The Brit Milah, extended to late hours in the afternoon, because he was waiting for an old man, in the outskirts of the town, water carrier, to pass on and name the baby after him, and I named him Shmuel. I came here also, maybe like a Moses, strangers in a strange land. And I feel among all of you like a water carrier. It's what I am myself. But I have learned, what Rabbi Smith and his wisdom, and the wisdom of all the classmates in the shiur, and like Rav Naftali, we were speaking the other day. He's in Ukraine now for his grandson bar mitzvah. That that the class changed his life.
Oh yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he said. It did to me as well.
So you're becoming Rabbi Shapiro.
So I feel the need to thank the Beis Menachem, Yitzhak, that it's a pillar in the class, and again, Rabbi Smith for everything has done for this year. We finished, for the next 6.5 years in the group, then the class grow together, and we'll do it again. Strat Hashem.
Amen.
Amen.
Shkoyach. L'chaim, l'chaim.
Chaim Yishakayach. Rabbi Shapiro, thank you for coming. I learned in the yeshiva in the Rebbe Shapiro. In must have been 1995. I was in the yeshiva there.
95?
Yeah. We like Masech Pesachim.
Oh yeah?
Now you have to make a cheshbon if it works out.
We were praising Rabbi Smith and your student for it goes without saying, just his dedication to us. One of the beautiful things about Rabbi Smith was 5:30 shir is crazy enough, but he's even crazier in a good way, because he wakes up at 4:30 to learn it beforehand. And I asked him, why do you do that? You should learn it the night before. He said, yeah, but it won't be fresh. So unbelievable.
Let me give Chaim. Everyone got Al Chaim? Want Al Chaim?
Dr. L'chaim.
Designated driver.
You want some of this? Apparently this
So
is
am I,
supposed to be good.
and I'm going to Aventura.
I'd just like to show this real fast. This is what we face in the morning. I never had teachers like this. I went to Cheder.
Where's the ruler?
Yeah,
The
right.
yardstick.
Yeah.
Crap.
That's your picture.
Very nice.
I'll say some words.
Yeah.
So I'm Levi Yosef Weiskopf. I'm a veteran in some sense because I've tried every Daf Yomi on the block. I've been here a few years, and I would always try Daf Yomi different places. I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but some Daf Yomis, there's 10 people learning, and there's 100 people all around talking at other places in the same room, so you can't hear. Other ones, people at the table learning are also doing the cell phone thing. So it's very distracting. I know there's all kinds of distractions, and in each one I've left, and then I came here. Wow, nobody was doing any of that. It was in a quiet room. You could understand it, and it connected. It would connect the daf with our lives, as we did. So that it wasn't something old, ancient. You know, it was immediate. I got addicted to it here. I mean, I had to drop off for a little while, but I joined another Daf Yomi. I'm just waiting to get my body up to the 5:30 line, starting again, because there's nothing really like it in the community at all.
So the professor should know that when we were having this birthday party, I hope I don't break confidence here, but Rabbi Smith said to me, "Do you think the professor will come?" So out of everyone he wanted, and the picture I'm going to give to Rabbi Smith tonight is the picture of you and him, because one of the things that Rabbi Smith loves is the chart, and who is who and what generation. The two of you were like partners in the chart.
Right, that's interesting, because up to now it's just names, of this and of that, and of this and of that. Who cares? Like who they are? But when you lay them out, you realize where they're from and what schools they are. It has that third dimension to it, and it grabs you. It makes it, it's a three-dimensional Torah now, instead of just flat.
Importance us for a lot of things. Sometimes you find somebody sells, the same person said something, does it contradict, does it fit? So if you don't know the names and you don't know where he's from, or he's a Talmud of this person, a Talmud of that person, then sometimes it can't be. So they have a lot of times shows that the Girsa is wrong because it couldn't be that the Rava said this because the Rava said something else, the Rava is a Talmud. So the names are important.
I gave that copy to Talmud in Aventura, and I told him, Rabbi Smith knows this, back and forth and right and left, and he said, I don't know if you know Salomon Nash.
I heard his name.
Right. He's very well learned. I wish I could know that.
The name Warriors that Moshe Bakar is sitting here, so I have to give l'chaim to him. I threw the name out there just for almost like just like a little catchphrase, but that was it. Just like on one little thing. I remember it was during Simchas Torah, and Moshe Bakar, I didn't really know that much, came up to me and he was like really excited. He was like, "Warriors." He's like, "Wow," and he said, "We are all warriors." He may have had some l'chaims. I don't know what the situation was. But after that, I saw that the name stuck. At least one person, thought it was fun. So so l'chaim, that's, if you want to know why that we are called what we're called, it's your fault.
Shukayach, everyone. Thank you for being so generous with your words. And for, of course, learning together. It's the best part. It says something about the channel of the Torah that the channel gets wider when you have more Talmidim. You receive more. You're able to give out to more thoroughly. So everyone adds something special, a unique thing. Levi Yosef is very challenging because he asks me, "How does this relate to our lives?" And it's in the Daf Yomi. That's a tough one. So
You always come up with something, though.
yeah, but trust me, it takes I'm burning rubber. So, and Yitzi built it up. Dr. Stein always adds all the interesting things, medical things. Schulin is incredible. All the information. Everyone adds a detail, something special to this year. A comment, a question, just being there, that we could get started.
But
This is the pioneer.
Always keeping it fresh, pictures,
Food.
definitely keeps it moving.
He keeps the
So nice.
spirit
Keeps
up.
everybody interested.
Yeah.
And making people jealous.
Rabbi Shapiro came all the way. I want to hear Shekayach Rabbi Shapiro for coming.
Thank you very much.
Chaim.
Something so very special that so much to learn. Actually, my shul, just year between Chamaida, I told him after Maida I'm running to come to a place. They're celebrating getting up 5:30 in the morning, learning Gemara.
Getting up at 4:30.
Get up at 4:30. Yeah, his shears at 5. I told him. Yeah. So someone said that means you have to get up at least 4:30 because you want to go to the mikveh before and then you want to daven afterwards. So I said, yeah. So I said, okay. So one guy says, tell him that you're jealous. We're jealous. He said, you're jealous? Get up yourself. He says, here's the jealous is something you can't reach. No, I'm jealous. You have money. I don't. But this, do it. Who's stopping you? So the guy answers me, yes, in Yirtzeh Hashem, I'll do it. I said, in Yirtzeh Hashem? Hashem wants, there's no question about it. In Yirtzeh Ato, it's in Yirtzeh Hashem. Sure, Hashem wants. So this is something very, very special. How they say, there's a posek, Rabbis Machshavas Bladish, Vatzas Hashem Yisokum. A lot of Machshavas in the mind, and the Eitzeh, the device of Hashem, that stands, that gets up. So I tell the Bochim always, when it comes to the morning to get up early, some Bochim will have a hard time. So they say, Rabbis Machshavas Bladish, comes in the morning, and it comes to think to get up or not. It comes a lot of my Machshavas go through your mind. One guy says, I'm too tired, I'm not going to learn a whole day, I'm going to do this. All kinds of Machshavas. But the question is, Vatzas Hashem, what does Hashem want? He's so good, get up. Vatzas Hashem, Eitzav Hashem is he's so good to get up. So there is something special. So,
She just told me that I was a bocher.
I think I told you. I think I did.
That's not an excuse.
Anyway, so Rabbi Smith asked me to come here to say a few words, so something like that. If I could have a chalik in this by just joining, so I'm very happy to do it. Especially, this the shir that goes on in public. You mentioned that when you have it more in public, it gets wider. Association veis in the Torah, it says 10 people who sit and learn Torah. Even if one person learns himself, Pirkei Avos says Hashem is with him. But when you have a minyan, we have 10 and you have more in the minyan, then the learning is better. In Ruchnias, the schus is better, and even for the Maggid Shir, it opens up his mind that certain ideas he wouldn't get. But if there's a minyan, it works together, so the keiches of everybody together comes together and it helps him. You see by the Baal Shem that this wasn't about learning, but it was davening. It's the same idea. He used to daven very late Friday night, very long, so the Talmidim davened with his minyan. And they finished early, and they waited for him. It's not nice to leave it. The Rebbe is davening. So it took a very long time. Once they decided, we could go home, make Kiddush, eat, and come back, and he'll still not have finished davening yet, and everything will be fine. So one Friday night, they decided to do it. When they came back, the Baal Shem finished a long time ago. That night, he davened very fast. So they asked him what happened. So he says like this, when I daven, I'm trying to climb to the heights, but I can't do it myself. When you want to climb someplace to a high place, what do? You have one person gets on top of the shoulders of another one on top of the shoulders, and then you climb on top, you get up. That's what happened. When you guys are in shul, he said, when I was davening, I was really climbing on top of your shoulders. You guys left, so I fell. So I can't, so that's why I finished fast. Same thing with learning. If you learn and all people together, it helps each other. So that's something that's very, very important. Besides the very importance of learning Torah, learning Torah, Talmud Torah, learning Torah, that's the greatest mitzvah that we have. It says that Talmud Torah is even greater than mitzvahs. Only thing is a mitzvah, that you could do al yedei acherim, then, and if you can't do it al yedei acherim, if you can't do it through somebody else, then you have to stop the learning and do the mitzvah. But if it's a mitzvah that can be done through somebody else, you shouldn't stop. You should continue learning, because mitzvah is the Torah is the greatest thing. That's why those Tanoim who is Teirosam Umnosam, they sat and learned all day, they didn't even have to daven. They would daven once in 30 days, because learning Torah is the most important thing. The question is, Krishma, see, mitzvahs they did. Yerushalmi says on Rav Shimon Yechoyi, Teirosam Umnosam, did he not stop to make a sukkah? Did he not stop to make a lulav? That he did. But davening, he davened once in 30 days, because Talmud Torah is the greatest thing. And if we learn in Tanya that There's no greater yichud, there's no greater union in the world, in anything, between two things, like when a person has Torah and learns Torah with his brain and understands the Torah. And he explains why. Because usually when you want to connect two things, it's connected from one side. Right here, you connect these two things, these two papers, you connect them, they become one, but it's all from this side. But not from the other side. When you learn something and your mind understands it, it says in Tanya, the Lashon is, you're makif umukif. You're surrounding the Torah, and the Torah is surrounding you. It's the great, the Lashon he says there is, it's a yichud she'ein yichud komeyo nimtza klal begashmis. There's no other yichud as a person's mind when he understands a thought. In simple words, it means when you understand something in your mind is at that moment that idea. The svara that you understand at that moment, that's what your brain is. So you and the thought become one. But the question is, but that's not only by Torah. Tanya says it concerning Torah. Any the science that you understand, your mind understands it. If you understand, you become united with the idea you understand. What's the specialty of Torah? So the Rebbe once explained, yes, by science it's also, by other chokhmas it's also. The difference is, your mind gets connected to the chokhmah. Let's say you understand in your mind how to make a car. So your mind is connected with the idea of making a car, but not with the car. Torah is chokhmah shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is Hashem's chokhmah. Hu chokhmah yechad. The Rambam says Hashem and His chokhmah are one. So when you're one with the Torah, with the chokhmah that you learn, which is His, and that's Him, so your mind is one with Hashem. So the greatest connection that Yid could have with Hashem, much more than mitzvahs. When you connect the mitzvahs, mitzvah also connects you to Hashem. The word mitzvah comes from the word tzavsa, connection. When you put on film, connects you to Hashem, but it's outside of you. You take film, it's outside of you. It's not inside of you. It's not at your mind, and it's not inside. When you understand something, it goes in the pnimis. That's why it says mitzvahs are compared to levushim. Garments are important, and they enhance a person. A person that's nice, that's dressed nicely, makes him look nicer. The Gemara said, Rabbi Yechon Chabdusa used to call clothes covet. It gives you covet, but it's not really you. It's not part of you. It doesn't go into you. But when you eat food, Torah is compared to food. Why is it compared to food? Just that food goes inside you and it becomes one with you. Torah becomes one with you, and the Torah is Hashem. You become one with Hashem. That's the important word of union of Torah. And that's when we're learning Gemara. Learning Gemara is Torah Shebal Peh. And Torah Shebal Peh, this is the Eibishter's Torah. And every word of the Gemara is the Eibishter's words. Every word of the Gemara. There's a long letter from the Rebbe's father to the Rebbe, in the Igris of the Rebbe's father. Most of the letters are long letters, Kabbalah. People like us don't understand a word it says there. You got to really work hard. It's very hard. But this one letter has a lot of simple things. Simple in understanding what he says, but not so simple in what they contain. So there, the Rebbe's father writes to the Rebbe, you should know, when you learn Gemara, every word of the Gemara, Hashem said. It's Hashem's words. And he says there, that even when you come to a part in the Gemara where there's a machlokes b'Shamai and b'Hillel, halacha like b'Hillel, not only halacha like b'Hillel, the Gemara says b'Shamai b'Mokim b'Hillel ain't a Mishnah. B'Shamai in place of b'Hillel doesn't even count. So he writes there, even that is the words of Hashem, and even the words where it says b'Shamai b'Mokim ain't a Mishnah is also the words of Hashem. And he goes even further. Sometimes you find in the Gemara, especially concerning Rav Asher, that Divrei Rav Asher v'Dusahi, different gear says. Rav Asher, what he said, and then the Gemara said what Rav Asher said, doesn't want to say is not acceptable. To translate it literally, what Rav Asher said is stupidity. So some people would say, okay, the Gemara said stupidity, so that's not holy. So he says, every word of Rav Asher is the words of Hashem. These words itself, where it says Divrei Rav Asher v'Dusahi, is the words of Hashem. Every word in the Gemara is the words of Hashem. So when you're learning, you're speaking the words of Hashem. You know what? The names of the Tanoim Amoraim are the words of Hashem. You mentioned before about the different names. It says in Shalah, if someone is in a place and he has no Svarim, and he doesn't remember any Torah Baal Peh, what should he do? Let him say the names of the Tanoim Amoraim. Just that. You say Ravina Rav Asher, Abaye, Rabbe, Rabbe, Yosef, you could say B'Shmuel, Bakiva. Just say these names. And these are the words of Hashem. Actually, in the Gemara, we find that when there's certain things that then some moment Eliyahu Novi said, "What's Hashem doing now?" He's saying, "My son Rabbi Akiva says this, my son this." Hashem uses their names, so these are the words of Hashem. So if you learn just the names of the Tanoim V'Amoraim are the words of Hashem. That's why some people think, and I've had this discussion with many people, that when the Gemara says a scientific fact, a medical fact, so nowadays we find out certain things we don't seem to be right. They say some kind of facts, physical facts, when it seems like science says it's not true. So some people think, okay, the Chachamim were very smart. They were the greatest scholars, greatest Chachamim. They were the greatest doctors. They were the greatest scientists, true. But all according to the level of science and medicine that they knew at that time. And therefore, the Chachamim, whatever they said was according to the science of that time. But if you find out that it's not so to speak, then it's not. In other words, basically what they're saying is that whenever you're having Gemara, anything that has to do with science or things like that, is not Torah. If you say it's wrong, then it's not Torah. Because Torah can't be wrong. Torah is Torah Semes. But if you say when the Chachamim said a certain scientific fact, and then we say now we claim, we prove that it's not so, that's not Torah, so that's wrong. So I asked this guy, I was on a long discussion with the guy. So I want to ask you, if you're going to learn a page in the Gemara which goes into scientific facts, must you make a birchas HaTorah before you learn? Like this, the din is you cannot learn Torah without making a bracha. And we do that every morning, we make a birchas HaTorah. Can you learn that piece of Gemara without making a birchas HaTorah? Doesn't say anywhere such a thing that you could learn without a bracha. Because if you have to make a bracha, what is the bracha that we make? Asher kedeshanu b'mitzvaysa v'tzivanu, you made it v'tzivanu al divrei Torah, or lasik v'divrei Torah, nusach you say. Asher kedeshanu b'mitzvaysa v'tzivanu, you commanded us to learn. In other words, this is the Torah of Hashem. So obviously, this is the words of Hashem. So learning Gemara, every word of the Gemara, even though some people think, well, the Gemara is not so meduyik. Chumash, just every word is meduyik, but the Gemara, it's the idea behind it. It's not. Every word in the Gemara is the words of Hashem. And when you learn the words of Hashem, Hashem is learning with you. It says a posik, Tan l'sheinim resecha, that Hashem, it says in the Medrash, Kol ha'yeshev v'sheina, if someone sits and learns, Mishnah is Gemara, HaKadosh Baruch Hu yeshev v'sheina kenegdei. Hashem is sitting across him and learning the same Gemara with him. If somebody ever thinks that you're learning, you don't have a chavrusa, it ain't true. You always have a chavrusa. The Eibeshter is your chavrusa. Because it says, Tan l'sheinim resecha, you're answering me. And it says, Yeshiv v'sheina connect. Hashem is learning with him. So when we learn Gemara, these are the words of Hashem, and Hashem is learning together with us. So that's what the Torah is. And so when you learn Gemara and you understand it, you become mamish, united with Hashem in the greatest union that's possible. No matter whether it's a piece of agadita. Some say agadita. Some yeshivas people feel agadita. These are stories. You have to learn. Teeth, alumnus. But when it comes to Gemara of Agadita, that you go through fast. The truth is, in Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says, concerning learning Agadita, Reiv Seides HaTorah Genuzimbo. Most of the secrets of the Torah are hidden in the Agadita, in the stories of the Gemara, in the Taichin of Psukim. Okay, we don't know the depth of it. There's some before Shemad. But to learn every word of Agadita is Hashem's words and Hashem's Torah. And that's the importance of learning. When you learn Torah, you become united with Hashem in the most deepest way possible. Rasha said last week in the Parsha, Chokesai, Im b'Chokesai Alecha Shetiyu Amelim b'Torah. Rasha doesn't say Shetiyu Lemdim Torah. You should learn Torah. It says Amelim b'Torah. Amelim means in Yiddish we say Horeven. It means toiling, working hard. Now, the simple pshat, working hard in Torah, means you have to learn, sit and work again and learn again and think. I think there's another pshat in Amelim b'Torah. Getting up 5:30, 4:30 in the morning. That's Amelim b'Torah. That's an omo. That's not simple. It's not simple. The best proof it's not simple, how many people do it? It'd be pretty simple, you'll have everybody do it. How come most people don't do it? Because it's not simple. It's very hard to get up. And I'm sure every day there's another struggle. Should I get up? Should I not get up? Yes, but I have to go. I did. And Yetzirah is there, and we have to have omo. So when it says Amelim b'Torah, this is what it means. So when you have such a shir, this is something that's incredible. That's every day in the morning to get up and get united with the Eibishter, and that your mind is one with the Eibishter, and you get one with the Torah and with the Eibishter. That's the greatest thing. So that's the knowledge of knowing what the union of learning Torah is. But I want to stress another point, which I'm sure people who get up 5:30 in the morning, there's no reason to talk about it, but just the idea of it.
4:30.
Huh?
4:30.
I mean, I say get up, I mean start learning 5:30. Yes, getting up 4:30 to learn 5:30.
That sounds very serious.
I see the Ormal there.
Metaphorically.
I see that. I see that.
That's right.
It's not so easy. That's all. And that is that there is the learning, and this is what you're doing, what we have to do. But then there is something that comes along with it. As a matter of fact, it's along with it, but it comes a little bit before it. See, when you start learning a Gemara, it's a strange thing. It starts with a base. Why did Gemara start with a base? Why didn't it start with a aleph? First one, it should be the first daf is aleph. Why that base? So the simple pshat is because the sharblat, the cover page, where it says it, that's the aleph. And the printer decided. See, nowadays when you don't count, when we count pages in the sefer, we don't count the cover page as page number 1. But I guess the printer who printed the first Gemara decided that he'll count that as 1. Maybe it was important to know how many pages to put in, whatever. And he counted it as 1. So the second one is a base. But there's like nothing to. Daf Aleph is not part of the learning, even though they tell a story that the Baruch Mezhebuzher, the Baruch was the grandson of the Baal Shem Tov, was called the Baruch. He was the Baruch Mezhebuzher.